Messy Mondays. Your girl show me. Your girl Marley Mar. So everybody, welcome to Messy Mondays, episode number 33. Good morning, good afternoon, good night, whatever you're doing right now. We are so happy you're listening.
What is that from? The Truman Show?
Yes. Oh my God. One of my fave movies ever.
I kind of like that movie. I have to you know when you have to like rewatch something as an adult and you catch certain things? I think that's one of those movies I didn't catch on to when I was a teenager.
Right.
And I think as an adult, it'll make a big impact.
You know what's really amazing about The Truman Show? How many references people speak of now because of this whole Big Brother shit that we kind of feel like we're living in. It's like people always say, yo, it's like the real life Truman Show. It's like, yo, like movies straight give us like a little bit of a snippet of what the future's going to be like.
That is very true. And movies, comedians put us like in a reality state. Like they kind of put you in a tippy toe kind of like what's actually happening. They have a different viewpoint when it comes to things. And I have a cousin who always says, I think I'm living in the Truman Show. Because she just don't believe shit be happening to her. She'll be like, what? Who? Why me? She literally every time. She's like, I think I live in the Truman Show.
We just doing this for shits and giggles so we can watch your cousin go through shit.
Yeah.
Right. But of course, it's your girl Show Me and your girl Marley Mar. Thank you once again for all the support. Make sure to follow us on Instagram at Messy Mondays Podcast, and as well as myself at ShowMe_ENC and Love Marley _. And your support is important. You get to know us personally, and we all know that we live in an age that likes, reposts, all of that matters. So we need y'all to do that for us, please.
Please. It's the only way we can keep going here.
Yeah, sure.
That's actually what it is. And don't forget to follow us on YouTube. We have the new YouTube video. We're going to keep doing that and putting the content there. Yeah. So that's going to be fun. And your comments there, likes and suggestions, it's going to be awesome. And hopefully we'll get to a point where we put these we have really good conversation face to seeing each other. Right. So hopefully you can see our reactions one day. We'll start posting these videos.
Yes. The technology is there. It's just that our availability and our knowledge isn't.
Capabilities are a little bit limited when it comes to this foolishness.
Yes, but the YouTube watch, you're going to see the growth, guys, on YouTube. Like, that's important. Once we start really putting a lot of energy into that and we get a little sharper, I think you guys are really going to enjoy that. It brings a different element to the podcast world, because now when we start attaching the visuals, it kind of allows you to feel, the emotion that we're trying to portray in our words, which is awesome.
Well, also it takes time, and I think that's one thing we're learning with also, and people know.
Things take time.
It takes time. Things take time.
When you have a regular job.
Full-time job, people. And people have expectations of you and all these other things.
And you don't want to put out trash.
Your side hustle. Yeah. Yes. Your side hustle takes kind of a back burner. But thank you for joining you guys again. What are your comments on technology and controversy?
Technology and controversy was really cool because it kind of got the attention of the people that I know that are into the Bitcoin industry and the rebels of the government, and they're into only watching shit on YouTube because they hate the news. I feel like those friends liked episode 32.
Deep web people?
Yeah, they liked episode 32. And technology and controversy was fun for me because I like that we touched on subjects that were high level and low level. So I thought that was cool. Yeah.
Life is all about balance, and a little bit of gossip don't hurt nobody.
Right.
I just want to share that. It kind of separates from all the everyday stuff. That's why I enjoy... Jasmine came in and was like, what are you watching? I'm watching anything that is on Bravo. Why? Because I need a balance in life. Because if not, I'll just be stressed all day.
So. Right. And I think sometimes you kind of need a break,
Oh, yeah.
You need a break.
You need a break from social. And that's one thing with technology. Start taking small breaks. I'd like to start taking small breaks from that, too.
Yeah.
That's a plan for mid-2018, I think.
True.
Might be the next idea.
And I think you kind of dropped a little hint about our special tonight episode. We have a Jasmine in the building joining our conversation, and me and Marley love when we have people join the conversation. It's the best because we get tired of hearing each other's voices, so it's nice. To get a little different spin. Marley, make sure to tell everybody who this wonderful guest is today.
So today we have one of my good friends that I've met in Seattle. We're both Seattle transplants, right? Is that how you would say it? Yeah. And naturally, nobody's really from Seattle. Anyways, we have Jasmine Rashae. I want to make sure I said that right.
Yes.
Say hello to the people. Say hello to the Messy Monday crew. She is a blogger, influencer, in a sense. I like to put those words on there because we're putting everything into existence.
Speak it into existence.
Everything, speak it into existence. She has a blog kind of following her life within the area of Seattle and everything new. So, Jasmine Rashae, please introduce yourself. Welcome.
Hello. I am Jasmine Rashae. I am originally from Baton Rouge, Louisiana. I spent about 4 years in Austin and in Dallas, and then life kind of switched things up, and I was like, let's try something new, and I picked Seattle. It'll be a year next month that I've been in Seattle. So I decided this is a completely different space, outdoor activities, and just a completely different lifestyle that I was exposed to when I was in Louisiana. Sorry, it's the echo.
Uh-oh. Hold on. Did I mute this? Go ahead.
Completely different from anything that I was exposed to. So I decided to document it this time. So it's called Do It for the Story. And the objective is to get people of color, anyone, just out of your comfort zone. Like, let's go skiing. Let's go hiking. Let's do different things that we wouldn't normally do in our own culture, or let alone in the Pacific Northwest. So I'm just documenting it each week. I have a long Seattle Pacific Northwest bucket list of things to do, and I'm rallying the troops to get it done.
Meaning we have to go with her and do these adventures.
Okay. That's what I was going to say. So these troops, how are these troops selected, you know?
She had us write down on an index card at her launch party all of our like wishes of like bucket lists of our own. Mm-hmm. Foolish of us, we didn't know what we were going to end up being
yourself.
part of.
I love that. That's
so there's
fantastic.
This big master calendar of things.
You really put some thought into this. I love it.
I did. So we'll have weekend adventures to do it for the story at least one time. You know, it's either going to be a good story or I'm never doing that shit again story.
Wow, how cool! How cool that you're also giving yourself an incentive to do stuff. You know what I mean? Like now that you have this list of accomplishments that you have to do, you kind of gave yourself no other option, and it forces you to get to know Seattle. I think it's brilliant. I love this idea.
Thank you.
And it forces people to go with her. Like it forces like me, myself, and like other friends. We were like, okay, we did say we were going to go do that.
Yeah, we got to go. Let's scratch it off the list. We have a long
list.
Yes,
I'm so happy that you and Marty connected because you guys are going to get along just fine.
We have learned that too.
Yes.
We have definitely learned that. Trust me.
I'm giving you some inside scoop from her flight from Florida.
Please, I need all still the tea.
Yeah, you have met your match, honey.
We're like, let's go.
That girl likes to plan stuff, and she likes to make it happen, for sure.
I do.
She does.
You do know me well, don't you?
Yeah, absolutely.
I do. And then I have my moments where I just be like, no, don't feel like it.
Yeah, and that's when Jasmine kicks in and she's like, no, girl, let's do this.
Go.
That's actually happened several times already.
Right, there you go. Perfect.
And then when I want to chill, Marley switches on, like, come on, let's go. Do it for the story.
Yeah. She's like, I found this historic rock that we should go visit because it's going to give us knowledge. And when we find this
all the energy.
It's going to give us it all. That's very true.
That's awesome. So, Jasmine, you mentioned that you're from Baton Rouge, and in your blog, you refer to yourself as a Baton Rougian, which is a new term I never knew of. That's pretty awesome. I actually went to New Orleans one time with Marley. I've been there twice, and one of the times I went with it was actually Marley. It was like a girls' trip for Mardi Gras. It was a really dope experience. But one thing I can say is that Louisiana has a very unique vibe. Mm-hmm. More so than anywhere else in the country, especially those of us who have traveled to a few places in this country. You gotta get to know the environments, and the type of people that come from those areas are different. Mm-hmm. However, I would have to say Louisiana was definitely unique. Yeah. So I would definitely say that. So a person like you, you guys are naturally like out the box. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
like that's the culture there. Now you're moving to a place like Seattle that's so out the box in as far as distance. You know what I mean? Like, why Seattle? I know that you said you tried other states, but why did you go there?
So my mom and her partner is here. They've been here about 5 years. But being from Louisiana and being in the South all my life, picking Seattle was something for me to completely change the game. Like, what's completely different that I'm not exposed to, that I can challenge myself and grow more. So that's why it was on the list. I had a short list of like Chicago or New York or Seattle, and this one was just so different.
At least you picked 3 expensive cities.
Yeah.
So you knew it was going to be expensive.
The budget, no matter what, will all live.
Yeah.
Secure the bag.
You got to secure the bag to live out here.
Absolutely.
There's jobs. So the market was good for jobs. It was completely different, new adventure. And I just saw it the same way when I moved from Baton Rouge to Austin. It was like, hey, if you hate it, you can just go back. You can go back to Austin. You can go back to Baton Rouge, New Orleans, or pick another city. Like, I'm not in a place in my life where I'm confined to a certain city. So it's just rolling with it.
Okay. I mean, what do you miss the most about the good Louisiana?
My family is there, food, but you know,
food.
My mom can cook me some gumbo or some red beans on a Sunday when I want that. But just the culture. I remember a couple weeks ago when Nice for What came out, and I hadn't heard it, and I came to visit Marley, and she was like, "You haven't heard it? You haven't heard it?" And I put it on, and I was just like bouncing and twerking, and I was like, "I want to go home."
That is really truly the most Louisiana song you can get. That Nice for What is definitely.
Girl, I was too high.
It is like literally. I think Drake made something that is equivalent, close to "Back That Ass Up."
Yo, that's classic.
"Back That Ass Up" is classic.
I mean,
Louisiana.
he remade that song as well. No.
He did. But
that slow.
That was
He didn't make it a bounce song. He didn't make it, you know what it is. But this, like, he literally, just like he tried to do that Miami song. Remember?
Yeah, but that was pretty dope too. That had a lot of spins.
Because we're from Miami and that is our music. Like,
so
we
you
were
got it.
So we were hyped when that song came out because that's a song you did at like the house parties, right?
Yeah,
like the hood house parties.
Pick up the stick. Pick up the stick.
Roll it with it. Like some, right? Some piccolo, and you just like roll like that's so I know that song,
and that's how I felt. So like
that's how she felt when she heard that Drake song.
I was like, man, I just want to go home. I want to be in the streets of New Orleans and like just So I do miss the culture and the people. I definitely have to. I make it a point every 3 to 6 months to get home because I need that. There's no city like Baton Rouge or New Orleans, like it's just a different vibe. So I do miss that. But I think it's important to create new traditions and bring the culture to different cities and people get that.
What's the difference between the two culturally or like area-wise between Baton Rouge and Louisiana? Because I know those like they're how far from there?
It's about a 45-minute drive, but I mean culture, people-wise, a Baton Rougian and a New Orleans person it's different. Like different parts of Louisiana, just in it's music. Like if you think Baton Rouge, we want Kevin Gates, we want Boosie. Like it's a different sound compared to like Bounce. Like so, it's just different. The food's different. The culture's different.
And one's like Cajun kind of one. Which one's
there's
the
like Cajun, Creole,
and things like that. So
I don't know. Baton Rouge sounds so southern to me. Like
it
I feel like that
is
is where the South is.
That's what I feel. I feel like that is a red like area.
Yeah.
It's a red stick.
Like it is like the country. You know what it is? The water boy. But that's where that comes from.
It is not like the water boy.
I did not say that. United States of America.
It sounds like Gator. It sounds like Waterboy.
It's not that.
I think country.
That's more like Lafayette. Like that's a different part of Louisiana. But Baton Rouge is a college town. It's like LSU. Like
I can see that. I can see that everybody loves the football team.
Yeah. It's a college city. So that's another thing that separates it from New Orleans, where it's just like lit all the time.
Right. But I can feel that in Baton Rouge you could probably get some fantastic chicken and some fantastic like Southern food. You feel me? Like
you can.
That's the type of shit that I look forward to when you go to places like that, because you're
Girl,
like, you know, where else?
List for you.
Where else am I gonna get this authentic Southern cooking from a person that really got these recipes from somebody's grandmother? You know what I'm saying? Like this is popping. I can tell.
It definitely feels when you say especially when you say Baton Rouge, it sounds like some deep South.
It's just like goodness. It's goodness.
Yeah.
And Beyonce's Beyonce be repping it.
Yeah,
you know. You know, I tie everything back to Beyonce, as always.
Right. At the end of the day.
At the end of the day.
But you know what's also dope? Another thing I noticed from your blog is that you actually, before you referred to do it for the story, you said being vulnerable on this platform scares the shit out of me. But that is a part of it. Mm-hmm. And then hashtag do it for the story. Now, I love that because, you know, people do it for the gram. So it's like you're doing it for the story, so you have the story to tell, so you have something to talk about. Because sometimes, a lot of times, people don't have anything to talk about because they've never lived their life. Mm-hmm. So it's like you doing it for the story, for you to have something to actually bring to the table sometimes, and that might even open up some circles for you.
Right.
You know, ultimately, people buy how interesting you are, not only what you do or your accolades, but your interest level of how you make that person feel when you talk to them. Mm-hmm. And when you have a story to tell, that appeals people. So I thought that was really cool that you said that even though you're vulnerable and scared, like, I don't know, that's fun. It's like now we're stepping into this adventure with you, but what is it that's scary about it?
You know, just sharing the media and social media and the internet can be a ruthless place. And then when you start sharing your truths and how you feel, whether it's a relationships or your taste in music or your views on spirituality or whatever that may be, that could be scary if you presented it on a platform for people. And I think I've had this dialogue with a lot of my friends over the years, but for me to put it out and be like, hey, it's up every Sunday at 4:00, go read what I'm thinking and what I'm doing. That's scary to me. But that's a part, me stepping out on faith for that, that's a part of my growth and doing it for the story and challenging others to get out of their comfort zone. This is something that I'm challenging myself to get out of my own comfort zone.
Okay. I mean, one thing I want to, of course, major plug to Marley. She was actually a guest on the blog, and she did a really dope interview where they dove into, correct me if I'm wrong, Kanye West, J. Cole, and Cardi B. Mm-hmm. And you did this really awesome thing where you actually quoted your favorite lyrics from the song. And you also put your top tracks. You are 100% a music head. Like, for those of you who don't know, I'm telling you right now, this blog is for the music heads. Like, this chick,
that's actually very true. And we can walk around, like, we'll walk around and we can like spit out a lyric, and then we're like, "Yep, that's literally."
You can't teach that. You know what I'm saying? That's like a thing. That's like, yo, like I'm over here dissecting like.
I was.
Verses.
I need to read it like line for line. Like, yes, that's it.
Yeah, dope, super dope, and that's why I personally really like the interview between you and Marley, because it kind of you also are speaking to a person that's a big, huge lover of music. So it's like it was dope. For those of you who haven't checked it out, please check out the actual blog right now is JasmineRashae.com. Am I incorrect in saying that?
No, that's right.
JasmineRashae.com. If you guys want to look at that while we're talking about it, please do, because Marley's the guest, so you have to support that.
You got no choice.
Yeah, and make sure to subscribe as well, because as soon as you log in, it gives you that little pop up and says, if you want to stay informed, yes, I would love to stay informed.
Yeah, thank you.
Get the notifications.
Likes, we need those.
We need subscribers.
Everybody needs a subscriber, of course. So, that's really dope. And it's like, it's nice to hear even a female talk about hip hop to that level. You know what I'm saying? Like, we all know that we like the music, but there's not anyone credible in the female world that talks about music. We could say that. I'm sorry, no offense.
I just feel like we don't do that anymore.
I don't think, and that's something I want to expand upon. Like, I know that's like a vision of mine. I think I've had that discussion with you. I know I want to expand upon that. It's just like, for me, just like your blog, you're just not like in that process of like setting up or like how to, or like finding that step, or like putting the energy, or like really opening yourself out there. But there is a missing, I mean, I follow some kind of like influencer kind of folks, or like people who are just like really open, right? And who have a lot of discussion about hip hop, but their views can be a little bit different than mine. But everyone has different views, obviously. Yeah. But I enjoy their kind of aspect of it. So I do have some women who do that, but they're not like on platforms.
That's what I'm saying.
They're not like the forefront.
Right.
So that is a missing piece, and I know like certain outlets have tried, but like some outlets have tried, but you can tell who's a person of lover and who's a person who is knowledgeable but not like deep dive, and it's just good at their job as being a host or something. Like there's no Angie Martinez, right? Yeah, something along those lines, something that's like really deep.
But there should be. That's what I'm saying. I need there to be at this level of the game, at this depth. Like we understand now that women are as powerful lyrically when given the right opportunities, because we've proven that now that a lot of major acts are females. And to be honest with you, no offense to any female MC that's out there, the real female MCs that can really spit are not the ones that are popular. Like that's just what it is. That's true. There's a lot of talent out there that there's also that same situation where there's talent where there's a Charlemagne missing in the female world. There's a Hot 97 crew that hasn't been built yet, that doesn't have a lead female voice that's actually challenging the artists and giving them hard questions. You know what I'm saying? There's not a Howard Stern female in the radio world that broke the barrier.
Was Wendy Williams that person though back in the Wendy was that person back in the day. You think so?
I think Wendy Williams' angle is more about like the gossip. You know what I'm saying?
Yes, but she is actually like I'm a weirdo in the sense when I get home, I know like what I'm watching because I don't have cable. So I set myself up to watch all these things that I've missed out on. And she is, what I've noticed, is a lover of music and knows her old stuff, not the current. And I think that's what maybe the difference. She knows her old stuff with the things that she was deep into. You know what I mean? Like when she was in her reign as radio. So she knows that stuff. But you're right, in the current state of music, in the current state of culture right now, there is no one who kind of like represents that as a whole.
Right. And
like I guess like the old Angie and like those kind of things are missing.
Yeah, and Angie was known for getting the interview that nobody else would get.
Nobody can get.
You see what I'm saying? Like that was the power she had, which was super dope. And I'm not saying that her era is done because she's still on the radio now. Yeah. It's just that it's different. Like a lot of younger people don't even know who Angie Martinez is.
Which is wild. Like, there's certain things that are just wild to me that people don't know. Like have you ever thought about that? Like how do you not know, like
know your history, kids.
Yeah, no. And that's what I'm saying. That's how I realized how old I am. I was like, I just need to stop. Like, just let this go. Yeah, but that's true. But I do like Jasmine's blog going into music, and I know that's something that you're really interested in.
Yeah, and I'm very curious to see how receptive people are from that because there is no one doing that. So I'm curious to how that's gonna go.
I support it, girl. I support it. Why not? You know what I'm saying? It could be you. It could be some girl from Ohio that blows everybody's mind. Who knows? But I just know that slot needs to be filled, and it will be. You know what I'm saying? I can say that, and I can feel it. It's just that it's missing. It really is, and it's like I feel like women have the capacity to discuss music on a very deep level, just like men can, and we're not necessarily voted upon to make those decisions sometimes.
I think we can have better discussions about music than most men, because I think we have a lot more emotion when it comes to certain things. We put in, and not to be like the stereotypical woman, but like a lot of music for me can be like an emotional sense or like have certain like you can name a song for something like that I can tell you that the song had an impact on me that like lives through me that like can put me in a place back to like 2005 and be like shit
and I was dating
yeah really
right like you can sit there and be like oh shit that's the song I have with so and so and this is what happened with that song and this is what it reminds me of and that's what I associate like we have this whole different world when it comes to
that's
music.
Interesting because I build playlists that way. Like, like a soundtrack. Like with my ex, it's like the soundtrack of us, and it's like tied to a memory or things that were happening in our life because it's an emotional connection. It's not just about the song. It's about like, hey, that's where we were in our life.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. And if certain lyrics are in something, then you're just like, well, fuck it. Like, this shit is... Turn the the shit off. Drake be speaking some words, and you just be like, this motherfucker knows what he's doing, and you just turn off the shit, right? Because you can put yourself in that place, or you recall someone saying something of those words or something along those lines, and be like, nope, turn the shit off, like it's over.
And that's how Drake wins.
That's how Drake always wins.
And it's like they always say that make the music for the women. Like the women have to buy it. The women have to like the music. Like when these execs are sitting in these offices making these $1 million decisions, they say, are the women gonna like this? Because that's a whole nother audience that if you captivate that, you're gonna make it. You know what I'm saying? So it's like we're huge in music. We're huge in music. We're the muse. We're the subject matter, and we're the also
muse. I like that
for sure. And we're also what determines whether or not it's gonna sell. Like we're a huge part of the music industry. They've been ever since the Beatles. They have been creating music so that women can love it, and it's like we're the formula.
I think so. Yeah.
That's why a voice is needed, because it's truly, we are what makes the world go round. We've been telling people that, but it's the truth. It's like we make decisions on a bigger level. You have to satisfy us. TV right now, everything you see on TV is about a female lead character that's doing really great. Like, you know what I'm saying? They're trying to give that type of power right now. So it's like our voice is very, very strong. And I
actually,
feel like
the climate right now is actually kind of on point to kind of tap into.
Yeah.
Because and I guess in the entertainment world, although that's not a real life impact on us in certain things, but like things like the Me Too movement or Time's Up and all that other stuff, if you're trying to get into the entertainment world, right? And
this is the time.
Dabble it, like sort of the time to get there, because we do have a step up.
A small window. Small window.
To crack that ceiling.
That's the
truth. And I think also women they're here to support each other and empower each other. So it's a good time to get in also from that.
Depending on the type of woman. There are...
Unfortunately.
Always got to be careful, right? You always got to be like... I think sometimes we always have to be one step ahead of some people sometimes. And there's some people who can actually be on your same... You got to find those folks...
Who you can collaborate
with and equally. And it's not going to be, a bitch fest. It's not going to be some sort of things like that. So that's why I try to surround myself with those type of folks, because there's some girls out there who will steal something. I mean, we had a conversation about people taking things... So, anyways, but in genuinely, like, and I think you spoke about your experience of stepping into a room and be like, well, these aren't the women per se that I want to surround myself with.
Yeah.
Right? So it's being cautious of that too and finding your fair ground.
Yeah, and you know what? Also, not giving up on the fact that there are good women out there. Like, I feel like sometimes we go through so many disappointments with females, especially in an environment that involves any kind of competition. Because women, I don't know what it is about us. We have this moment of the bitch just walked in the room and it's like, I don't like her. It's like, you know what I'm saying? It's like, she just walked in. You know what I mean? So it's like, we all suffer from that a little bit. So it's like, it's unfortunate that, we all must admit that we prejudge people, and it's hard to make stable relationships if you started the relationship already kind of judging the girl. So it's like it's kind of disappointing, and you're like, damn, I want a homegirl, because at the end of the day, everybody wants a homegirl. You know what I mean? Like, don't act like you don't. Women be like, oh, I only hang out with guys. That's bullshit. Like, you need to talk to women. So it's like, there are good women out there, and you can meet a really good female friend that would be like your sister. It can happen.
Yeah, I will admit, like, I know someone who recently said something along the lines of like, I don't really have many female friends, and I was just like, well, there's an evaluation that you might have to do within yourself, because I can't see myself not having female friends.
It's important.
You know what I mean?
It's important. It's important to just bounce ideas sometimes with a woman. It's important for those of you in a relationship, ladies and gentlemen. I've learned something, and I will say that because as a super senior single in the past, I would tell you this: like, you can't air out all your shit to your man. Like, you have to have someone else that you air out all your nonsense to, because that might drive a wedge between your relationship, because now he's the only soundboard you have, and you're just like letting out all this shit about the bitch you hate at work and the bitch that doesn't give you the coffee the way you want it, and your homegirl's stupid because she bought the lipstick when you know you were gonna buy it and she didn't tell you she wants to go buy it. Like shit that your man is not
gonna give it two shits about and not interested in.
But you need that homegirl to go to lunch with and to talk about those things. You know what I'm saying? Like everybody needs that.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. And I'm glad I've kind of found that in Seattle.
Aw, friends. How pretty. Like-minded women that like to try new things to be better. Yeah. See?
Yeah.
That's awesome. Now we're going to go on to our next topic that we want to get to know Jasmine a little bit better. I want to touch into another thing that I observed, not only from your blog, but also from, being friends with Marley and knowing that her relationship with you does have a part of it that has to do with spirituality. I wanted to ask you, how has your spirituality played a role in your success?
It's a big part. I consider myself I connect with a lot of religions and spiritual things, and me producing the blog is on faith, because it's faith over fear. So that was a big part of me deciding to do it and to do anything, because for me, my motto, another thing other than do it for the story, is maktub. And that means it is written. Like, God has already orchestrated the plan, the play. Like, you have to just trust your intuition and trust him, and he's going to lead the way. So I base my life around that, and every decision for my career and personal life, like trusting and following my gut, because he's going to guide me. So spirituality is a big part of that, and there is a section in the blog for art and spirituality, because I'm really passionate about yoga and crystals and all the hippy dippy shit. And that's one of the things Marley and I connect on. So it's a big part of how I live my life.
And I think I've told you that I've told you that I found like a little group of girls that are just like literally, we all are on the same page when it comes to like, I found a new crystal store, or I just purchased this sage, or like I found this like just little things like that. And that's like really cool, because sometimes you feel weird telling people who don't understand that, because people will be like, oh no, you're
you're a witch.
Right? And that's not like, I'm not that deep into that aspect of it, but I have like this kind of, it feels a little bit more relaxing. It lets go of a little bit more of it, of anxiety, or stress, so like something else and things like that. But I do believe in, Jesus has, is around, and I still have small faith into the Catholic Church, what I grew up in, and I still have my small little things like that. I have a little bit of window of everything. Yeah. Right? I'm not a non-believer. I think that's what it is.
And I think sometimes people get really nervous about having those conversations, especially from me coming from Baton Rouge. I was raised Catholic, so playing with sage and crystals and things like that is unheard of. So I think it's very important that I kind of connect the dots through the blog. Like, hey, I go to church, and then when I leave church, I go to yoga, I charge my crystals, I burn my sage. I can do all of that to connect to God, and that's how I see it. And then that's okay. It may not look how you do it, but it's important to me, and I can blend those faiths so it can fit me.
I think something new that I've learned is that millennials, and I think we all fall in the area of millennials, have become a lot more spiritual, because our parents prior to us were very religious in a sense. I think like the generation prior to us, and I think maybe for me, coming from a family who is from a different country, and like my grandparents are like super religious and have like 10 bendiciones before you hang up the phone. And they're just like blessing you through that phone for like 20 minutes, and you cannot hang up until it's over. Right. Like those kind of things. And so, like, you grew up with that structure that you sort of start to, like, dabble into different areas and things like that.
You have conversations with people, and you explore different religions and things, and you find some parallels. Like, oh, we do that in the Catholic faith, or we do it that way, but we call it this, and then you make some connections.
Yeah, because in the Catholic faith, they use sage.
Yeah.
That's what That's what the smoke is when he comes down the aisle.
Yeah.
So you're just like, oh, sage has been around me the whole time, so it's not a weird thing. Yeah. It's just I'm using it outside of the little gold thing that's been swinging around down the aisle.
It smells so good in the church, though. I love it.
It does smell good in the church. It does smell good in the church, but I didn't realize until I started kind of moving into the space of like a little bit more for my own personal use. I didn't realize that that's actually the same thing. Right. Like no one sits there and taught you the same thing.
I didn't know that.
I mean, and some of those things in the Bible and across other religions, it's very close and very parallel. And when you're mixing and mingling, because I love to talk to strangers and just figure out like, hey, what's your story? Like, I want to know what's going on. You figure out like, hey, we have more in common than we thought. And then I just kind of started piecing those things together and make what I call spirituality.
That's what you are. You are a walking Humans of New York. Do you have that on Facebook?
Yeah, I follow them. I love
the Humans of New York, where it's like a long story of like a random person on a bench.
I want to know what they're doing.
You're literally a walking, talking, like stopping a person and do that.
I think it's interesting that you mentioned that you think a lot of millennials are more spiritual now. I think that's an interesting observation, and it actually triggered a thought in me that I think that the reason that is because our parents are actually from the generation where religion started cracking a little bit. Not that our parents are heathens, but it kind of started not making sense. So they didn't really shove it down our throats. Like they were like, this is what we practice. Let's do the foundation as your childhood because it's important to know morals and to understand, to respect others and to not murder. Like, there's certain things that you learn in religion that are priceless. So it's like, it does make you, in my opinion, I don't mean to offend anyone who was raised differently. I think it gives you a solid foundation and it gives you a purpose to understand that there's a greater thing out there that you have to always live up to. And I think that religion gave me that. I don't know how people teach that now if they don't have religion. That could be the reason why kids are so fucked up. But at least our generation was our parents that's all they knew. So that's what they would do. So they did that for us, but then they kind of let it go once we became teenagers because they were like, we get it. You know what I mean? Like this, you have the right to understand and to make your own decision in this area. So now that has left a generation of people who understand that there is a God, but that they're not with the organized religion. Yes. So now we're morphing this into something else. However, my point is, I'm afraid for the new generation because there's no structure. You know what I'm saying? There's no reason to believe that it's not okay to kill someone unless it's just sad. Like before we used to think it was a sin and it's not right and it's, it's against God. But like these kids that are being brought up without that, it's scary. That's why people are filming people drowning and they're not even helping them.
Not helping them. Yep.
It's just crazy. I don't know.
I think, and I've had this thought before. I had a conversation. I think I would probably still, the way my parents raised me, where you went to communion, you went to, you got the baptism, you got, what's the next one? Yes, communion,
the confirmation.
And then confirmation. That whole line, I actually will probably more than likely still follow that, right? Okay. Because I do want that, and because, I mean, you have to acknowledge yourself with something also, right? Because I think I've learned everything that has to do with religion, or not with, at least the Catholic faith. And, and then when you grow up, you make your own separate decision. But I think I'd still kind of want that traditional part still embedded. I'm like,
for the morals. For the morals,
I think I'm partial traditional in a sense. Yeah. Right? Just in everyday life. And then also a little bit more like rebellious in a separate kind of aspect. Yeah. And I think there's certain traditional pieces of things that I still would want to continue on with like my future and my children in a sense. And then I'm just like my parents allowed me to make my own decision, and what I, religiously or spirituality and things like that, I would still continue that.
Yeah. And faith gives you strength, and it also makes you brave. So I think that it's important to believe that something has your back out there. Yes. You know what I'm saying? That's important. That's important. Whether or not we got that wrong, you know what I'm saying? I don't know, because we don't know that part of life yet. But it's just like, it feels good to know that something's out there, and like you have something that's protecting you somehow, or that has your best interests at heart if you behave the right way. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. For sure.
All right. Now to switch lanes completely, because you know we got to talk about
a whole 360.
A whole 360.
Yeah.
This is about the world that we all part of as millennials. Okay, I have a question to ask, and I know I'm gonna stir the pot. Do you think that the media has taught us to hate Trump?
No, I think Trump has taught us to hate Trump. It is hyper focused, but I think it's hyper focused in the media, but I think we do that through social media, and we fuel those fires for ourselves. And that's one thing I try to take a break from it because it's so intense. But I think he does that. I don't think he gives us fuel and the media runs with that. Yeah.
Yeah, I think media does, and I think I texted you this, show me, when I was like, no, it's about making, and I'm always a person about making decisions, making choices, having accountability and responsibility. Mm-hmm. And when it comes to social media, when it comes to things you watch, read, or see, you kind of have to take accountability for those things, right? So if you see something on the news and you have to or you see something on Facebook, you always have to read the details, make sure it's true, make sure it's, has something that has responsibility in it, and then, something that has credibility in it, and then making your own decisions or seeing, for controlling what you see often or not. Filtering it. Filter yourself and make choices to things that you rely on more. So I don't watch regular cable news.
I don't either.
And I don't watch CNN. Mm-hmm. And I don't watch those specific news channels. I'm a reader of articles. I am specific, news outlets and things like that I can. Same. But variations of it, right? Where nothing is the same opinion or thought. Huffington Post is literally the worst thing you can do because they're literally one-sided on everything. And it's not an open dialogue of things. So I'm a person who... And I think Trump as a person knows what he's doing, what he's getting from attention for saying the media isn't.
He enjoys
because
it.
You're literally calling a media channel, telling them that all the media channels are bad, but how do you know all the media channels are bad if you're not watching them? Those kind of things, right?
I think
there's a play on words.
That in a sense, I hear what you're saying, Jasmine. I'm sorry. I hear what you're saying in the sense of, they wouldn't have a way to put the shit up if he didn't say it in the first place. They wouldn't have the ammunition to hurt him if he didn't behave that way in the first place. So I totally 100% agree with that. However, I consider myself semi-intelligent. You know what I'm saying? I'm not saying I'm the brightest, but I believe that I pick up on things. And there's no way I can ignore the fact that I feel that there's an agenda going on right now. This is such an excessive amount of exposure to one person. I've never seen anything like this in my life. Mm-hmm. This is feeling like I need to turn this off because they're trying to convince me of something right now. Because this is out of control. And I'm not saying that it's wrong or right or what the motive is behind it, but there's no way that this level of coverage on one individual is normal. This is not normal.
But is it that way because he's the president?
Because I've been living in this country for quite some time, and I have been able to understand politics, I would say, for the past maybe 11 years of my life. Not my whole life, let's be honest. Of course you don't. But for the past 11 years, I kind of understood politics a little bit more, and now I'm actually way more into politics than ever because of the level of exposure that it has. It's never been exposed like this. I have never seen, even with a black president, this level of coverage. This is... You put CNN on right now, I will bet you $100 Trump's name is highlighted somewhere. And they're talking about Trump.
But that's what I say about finding different options. Because I can turn on to Fox News or Bloomberg or all these other variations and find that not a balance because they're two drastic different opinions. But there's the different channels where you have to. That's why
there's
you have
a problem with that. CNN is one of the most popular news outlets in the world. So there's a problem here that if we know, as a citizen of this country, as a person that was educated here into high school, you don't even need to be college educated. You know that CNN was a source of news that you would get that was better than, let's say, the local news at 7. You know what I'm saying? Okay, this is a higher level of news. Why is it that one of our biggest media outlets is only talking about one person. I'm not saying that I'm for this person. What I'm saying is that I fear what's going on right now. Like, what is really happening? Like, why are we so obsessed with this one subject? We're giving this so much power. We're giving it all of our energy. We're giving it all of our media. We're giving it everything. Just this motherfucker can come off a plane and say he hates Coca-Cola. Like, for the next week, all we're going to be talking about is the fact that Trump hates Coca-Cola. It's like, wow. Like, I feel like it's too much. It's too, I don't know what the real motive is, but I feel like it's making me nervous. Because it's just
and
way
that's
too
where,
much.
Yeah, and that's the part, like, where people have to start filtering, removing, separating, because it will be too much. And there's people, like, I mean, we're intelligent people who know how to separate ourselves and separate kind of what's there. But the people who will be most affected is the ones who don't have understanding or are fully intelligent, you know, or not to say nobody's intelligent,
Right,
but like
but
people who
it's
don't
scary.
have the education to separate what's in front of them, what options are, how to separate themselves from that. Right? Because what I found myself is, like, if I don't turn this off, I'm not going to separate that from real life, what I really truly have going on around me. Right? Because I can care less when he comes off that plane. You know why? Because that guy's still going to make it to work, and I got to pay some bills.
But who has ever cared that much? Ever. In the history of the United States, who has ever cared that much? Unless when Kennedy was president or some shit, and it was like he was a celebrity.
Right? But I think what's the difference is that
he's a joke.
He's a person who was never expected to be that
right, but he's not the first hated president.
No, I think this is a different. Like, people want Bush back. That's how crazy.
No, they hate him that much because we have that much more availability to get to know him. How many of these motherfuckers don't we never knew because we never got to see them?
I think that's another aspect too. He's using our platforms as well. He's using social media.
Right.
We've had where we are today, technology wise. 10 years ago, we were never at. Right?
Absolutely. We weren't here 5 years ago. Yeah.
We weren't here 5 years ago. So he's putting himself even more out, which makes it, I think, even that slightly more dangerous. That makes it, you know what I mean, a step up where the news media have to keep up with what he even is putting out there.
And I also think it's just the way he communicates it.
Yeah, he's a terrible communicator.
Ignorance. Yeah. Like, so the media is like, what is he going to say next? What does this mean? Like,
what does it mean when you're contradicting yourself, right? Yeah. Too, that's another thing. Like, so I think also news media, and I don't watch a lot of those channels, but I think they're trying to dice. And if you notice also, and that's where people have to be cautious, there's a lot more commentators, there's a lot more opinion, and a lot of stuff,
which is not always a good thing.
What I'm saying, which is a lot of stuff is not journalism. So there's those different aspects. When you have the round table, it's one, because it's good to hear different opinions, different thoughts, different mixes. But if you're talking about journalism directly to you, sourced information, that's a different thing. And people are confusing a lot more of the opinion pieces to what's the fact, like what's the direct piece, factual things.
Right.
And that's the other thing. A lot of these news outlets now are more opinion based.
Right.
And that's another thing. And that's why it might drive a lot of us wild, because we'll be like, I don't agree with Sarah Huckabee dad is on the TV on the opinion thing. Like, no, like, whatever. Like, you just go insane even with opinion, because a lot of things are more opinion and they're not actual pieces.
I just don't
and that's
like
why reading
that
is the better piece.
They like, one thing happens and then it just escalates and escalates, and it's like you see it happening. And like, I'm not even trying to dive too deep into the Kanye thing, because who knows what's gonna happen tomorrow morning, you know, at this point
when we wake up.
I'm gonna be really honest with you, like, you don't know. But I honestly, that's a perfect example, and I know I'm mad people are gonna hate me for this, but it's just like, this dude gave his opinion, and because he gave his opinion, the whole country went nuts. And I'm not saying that his opinion was right, and I'm not saying his opinion was wrong, and I'm not saying that I'm pro-Trump or that I think Kanye is not bugging. I'm not saying that, but what I'm saying is, we took this shit so far. Like, it's like, who the fuck is Kanye? For us to really be sitting here losing sleep over the fact that this rich, upscale man in the United States is probably siding with somebody because he's a rich man. Like, he's not the same Kanye from 10 years ago. He's not the same Kanye from 10 years ago, and I think people need to understand. I'm not excusing his behavior, but he's thinking like a rich man. Like, it's like,
yeah,
you know what I mean?
I think there is a part where people evolve, right? Like I had a thought yesterday, was like everybody evolves. We're not the same people that we were 5 years ago. But I had a coworker. We have a coworker who's like literally show me. He is a walking hype beast. Like he knows what his love in life is Kanye, and he came into work like, what the hell is going on? And I'm like, you know what? You just gotta wait it out. Like, let the man. I was like, I don't know what to tell you, because you know what? And this is, I think I text somebody this. I was like, listen, we need to stop looking at people as celebrities, even including our president, who is a celebrity, or any really. President, right? As celebrities, as to our overall life. That's why I said our life continues, right? We still have real world things happening. We still got things outside. Absolutely. If that's that man's opinion, if that's that man's choice, fine. What we don't know in all those text messages, and I think I said this also, where we don't know what he actually, like the tweets really didn't tell us anything.
They were very vague.
They didn't tell us anything, right? You could have said you liked Donald Trump 10 years ago because you were watching, what's that damn show?
The Apprentice?
Whatever show he was. Yes, right? Because you enjoyed the show 10 years ago, right? That we were in a whole different space. Now, 10 years later, you were like, fuck that motherfucker. I don't care for him. But that's just because things have evolved and changed. And Kanye was very vague in what he said. But then when he started trolling us because people had a reaction, then you're just like, well, let's unfollow this foolishness. Or like, whatever. Or let me close this, or let me ignore. And that's why I told my coworker, I was like, you have to wait it out, because you don't know what he's doing.
He's canceled. He's canceled for 20 years.
Jasmine is done with him.
I love him. I love. But you have to, on this one, I'm going to have to love him unconditionally.
Are you canceling him from his support for Trump? Or supposed support? No, because he said he doesn't support it.
It's not even about like Democrat or Republican. It's not about that. Like you making coins, you have money. Like it's not about that. Like, choose what you need to choose, what fits your lifestyle. It's about supporting sexism, like everything that Trump stands for. And as a man of color, and in your platform, I can't rock with that. It's not about Democrat, Republican. I don't care about that. That's your choice. It's about everything that Trump stands for. I can't support that. That's my personal choice.
But my fear is that I don't even know what Trump stands for anymore, because I don't know if this is what he stands for or this is what the media has convinced me that he stands for, and that's my true opinion. It's becoming to the point that it's like I said, the Kanye example, the reason I referred to that is because this person, like Marley stated just now, wrote a very vague text. That transformed into now Kanye doesn't like black people. I don't know how we were able to now convert that into that. I'm not saying his behavior was okay, but what I'm saying is we need to be a little more mindful of where we're getting our opinions from. Like, it's like, is this the media telling us this?
No, I think
it's for me it's the parallel, like, if you support this, that's a parallel endorsement for his behavior. So for me, I gotta pause on that. But I get that because it's vague.
Yeah. Right. And what I'm saying is that this is what we need to start doing. I feel like, and I say this to challenge you both so that we can start expanding on the conversation, because everyone just keeps saying the same thing. But the same thing is not different. It's like I feel like we're all just robots and we're all just saying the same thing. Oh, this is not right and this is the wave and we're not supposed to agree with it because if you fit this criteria, you can in this box, you cannot think outside of this box. And I think that that's what Kanye is saying, and that's what I'm defending. The fact
that's what he's saying.
If you're outside of that box, then the whole world of your culture is going to be against you.
No. And I that's exactly what he is saying, right? Is about, and that's why, like, yesterday, you know what he tweeted? Which is why, again, this is all a troll. You know the young lady, Emma from Parkland?
Okay.
He shaved his head.
Yeah.
And he said, I'm in support of Emma. That is my hometown.
Yeah.
Right? So then I'm sitting here, really? Like, but that's where even prior to that, I put that as, he's just putting his words out there with vagueness. And that's why now he played people. Because on Friday, when I was telling someone, I was like, him putting all that stuff and putting his MAGA hat and all that stuff is opening Pandora's box just a slight bit, because all those trolls that are like those, what do they call it? Kind of that far left, little Trumpish people that are be on Twitter have all now followed him, right? He gained all these followers.
Right.
And then if people who, who are on the Trump side of things or like on the Republican conservative
and let's not forget all the golden memes that we saw these past couple of days that were hilarious.
But then you know what he did to him? You know what he did to them then? You know what he did to them? By yesterday, he put up a picture of Emma and supporting her and the Parkland kids and all their things. And that's I'm sorry, I confused the left and the right. You get what I mean. That's a far other narrative.
But what about Ye versus the people? What do you guys think about that?
I never listened to it. I have not listened to it. First of all, I don't. T.I. bothers me sometimes when it comes to when he comes to like talk to you, and I have not put I haven't had time, and I have not put the energy, and I wasn't interested. I think that's the thing. To be honest
with you, it's not great music.
Exactly, that's the opinion. Other part.
It's not great music. It sounds very raw, but what I can say is that he kind of does like a good versus evil type of conversation. With T.I., which is creative. You can respect that musically whenever people do like a conversation in a song. However, it didn't make me change my mind in any way about anything that's happened. I don't know if that was the point of the song, but it didn't move me personally. I'm gonna let you guys listen to it.
It's about dialogue, right? Like that's what it is. Like,
yeah, it's about the dialogue, and then he says certain things that resonate. That I'm pretty sure for those of you who are on social media and follow Fox News or follow any news outlet, they've been quoting the song all day and saying,
really?
I'm just afraid, people are just afraid of saying what I'm thinking type shit. You know what I'm saying? So he made a few bold comments in the song. But I'm gonna let you guys listen to it because I would love, for you guys to just listen to it as a music thing. I'm gonna be honest with you, it's not necessarily a dope song. It's not. It's just, I guess he's just once again defending his freedom of speech, basically, is what he's trying to say.
Yeah, but I think that's all aligned. I think the song may have been prior to everything. Like, I think at the end of the day,
planned?
I think part of it is planned. Like, we have this song. He had a conversation with T.I. I said, I want to do this thing, and this is what I think. They had the song done, and so he goes, okay, marketing time. And
maybe.
We're gonna put
and then the
Charlemagne
interviews be epic.
But Charlemagne heard the songs prior to, because I listen to, I'm a huge Charlemagne follower, like religiously. Yeah. So Charlemagne one day he goes, listen, I've heard the music. We have to wait for him to talk some more. He's like, but all this foolishness is happening. I don't know if we are that deep into. He's like, it started going. What he was doing on Twitter started expanding more. He's like, no. Things are getting a little bit more. Remember, I had an interview with him 7 days ago. Yeah. What we're at now is completely different. So, but he said he did have a conversation with him, and I like Charlemagne, so I hope and I think he may have asked the right questions.
I like him, but he gets soft politics when he's in front of the artist. That's my only thing about on the Charlemagne. Yeah. Like, he's so cutthroat, but when he's in front of the artist, he's a different person.
In parts of it, yeah. And I listen to like Hot 97 to Ebro, but he's very stuck in his ways and not open to it. So that's the difference. But overall, again, I just suggest everyone do find variations of media information and things like that and try not to be one-sided. But Kanye, I mean, the love is from a distance. right? Like, Jasmine's canceled with him. I'm loving from a distance.
I said I was loving from a distance.
Right.
Because we can't, again, how we talked about music and playlists, who is the person who's always going to be listed something? He
came up 4 times on a shuffled playlist of mine this morning. And I was like,
yes.
Kanye.
And not only that, you quote him in your blog as well. And he said, let's go on a living spree, Kanye West. So you definitely are a Kanye fan.
I am. I'm sad. It's a very sad
So you know what? I'm going to put you in the worst position ever right now, okay? I'm going to ask you, if you could have Kanye perform for you in any environment, you can pick it, girl. Like this Kanye said, whatever you want me to do to perform for you, how would you make that happen?
Oh. We're going to take it back to Louisiana. We're going to go...
Are we talking today, Kanye? We're talking 5 years ago?
No, it doesn't matter. Kanye. You can tell us to only play as Ocean.
We're going to take it home so I can be with my folks, and we'll do, like, NOMA, which is the New Orleans Art Museum, like, Poppin' Museum, open bar, selective people, Good vibes. And old Kanye.
Kanye's still Kanye. And Kanye is an influencer.
That sounds
really
dope.
likes...
Invite me.
You coming.
Yeah, right. Can we
Let's
come?
go on a living spree.
Exactly. Man, Kanye really had us out here trying to spend money and live life. Welcome to the good life, bruh.
Yeah. So many good. Homecoming was one of my favorite songs. Like,
Big Brother.
Oh my God, there's so many good songs that
Let's
Kanye
just
has.
watch The Throne all over again.
Yes.
Big Brother. Come on now, when he talks about Jay and how like influent, you're just like,
Jay gotta go get him.
I'm telling you. Like Kanye can perform for 8 hours consecutively and give us music.
And we would sit there in awe, just be like, this man.
Yeah.
This
won't stop.
It's like it just won't stop. Like it won't. And I think Charlamagne did say something. He's like, I think this Yeezy is just all a social experiment because he's like he got us walking around in nude colors and brown and grays and
with holes in them.
With holes in them.
When you see minorities wearing holes on purpose, you know what I'm saying? Like that is not what we do.
Right?
Not what we do. No.
Like, and he said this supposed to be a social experiment because this foolishness, and it's true. If you take yourself out and step out for a minute, you'll be like you said, like the world went wild on him
because we're attached, and
we're attached, and we shouldn't be attached to celebrities.
To a very high regard,
and we shouldn't be attached to people who do not pay our bills,
right.
who we do not know outside of that camera.
Maybe we think
without
he's
that
Jesus.
Music. We don't think he's Jesus.
I mean, he did say he was Jesus. You feel me? He did say that. But no, you touched on a really good point. We should not be basing our decisions on our political views based on what celebrities think. Like, guys, like that's scary shit. Like, you need to educate yourself on your political stance on things.
But then you have like B&J, who use their platform differently. So it's a balance.
Mm-hmm. It's just we have to. I mean, we are all lovers of Queen Bee, right? Like,
I had to throw it in there. I had to throw it in there.
But
because she's making
Hillary Clinton wasn't also
too.
the perfect person to be. I mean, when there was a large group of people in line, like little things, you just be like, okay.
Yeah, but I didn't.
They weren't convincing me.
I didn't vote for Obama because Beyonce sang at. You know what I'm saying? I didn't do that for those reasons.
Exactly. I didn't vote for Obama because I saw Jay-Z for free because I registered to vote.
However, some people probably did because he used his influence.
And that the thing. I mean, endorsement is one thing, but people need to be smarter and do making their own decisions. So it's fine with all the endorsements. Kobe Bryant was endorsed with Sprite, didn't make us drink Sprite more. The shit was just there.
No, right.
Little things like that. Like, people need to make better decisions. And America is getting a little bit dumber, stupider because of social. And, I mean, Brianna posted something today about her new lingerie, and I literally text my friends. I was like, this marketing is going really well because I really kind of want to order this lingerie.
Yeah.
And I'm kind of on this... I'm like, she had a plus size cute girl, and I was like, well, I think she's making something for me out here. So little influences, but not your personal influences. So should be really accountable.
Right, and I think that maybe we need to just all kind of like have a moment. Maybe this is what we needed to see, like the worst version of what social media is doing already. It's disgusting. Maybe this is what we needed so we can kind of back off a little bit. Like, you know, it's skewing the way people think.
It is.
In a really crazy way.
And I fear, I don't want to say the word fear, but we have to be cautious when it comes to our children.
Yeah.
That's what it is.
Yeah.
I think we are that generation that we need to set the standard of what our children and our next set. Because if we miss this mark, I think it's going to be a whirlwind. Because the kids right now behind us,
perception and reality is really blurred.
Very blurry. They can't tell the difference between one or the other.
Right.
And so we are that next set of people who really need to teach our kids differently. I think that's what it really is.
And maybe we can all join that Kanye comeback concert that that you're hosting in the art museum.
Not this year. He's canceled for 2018.
2019. 2019.
2020 is lit.
Right.
Oh man.
All right. So I mean, tell people how they can hit you up, follow you, understand.
Sure. You can follow me on Instagram at Jasmine_Rashae. That is RASHAE. And my blog site is jasminerashae.com. I post new stories every Sunday at 4 p.m. Pacific Standard Time.
Isn't that weird to say Pacific Standard?
It is.
What time is that? Oh, that's 7 o'clock.
7 o'clock Eastern.
Yeah.
So yeah, if you have any suggestions of adventures or stories, we travel. We can go on a living spree. Just shoot me. You can add me on Twitter, Instagram, or on the site. Subscribe.
We don't jump out of airplanes.
Two things. No bungee jumping and no skydiving.
No skydiving.
Everything else, we can talk about it.
Because Marley has to go with her on some of these things.
That's why Marley's saying.
But we both agree
no,
that is not
those
something.
are off the do it for the story. That's not happening. Not yet.
That's awesome, guys.
And so if you have a messy... Well, thank you for joining us.
Thank you for
Yes,
having
thank
me.
you so much. Awesome.
Like, this was great. I think we dived really deep into a lot of areas. And I'm excited to listen back to this in like 6 months. Right?
Yeah.
Where like the shit is either even hit the fan or
Kanye's going to be in Mars.
Tesla like way out there, like just done.
Yeah.
Just space. Like, you know, him and Kim and North and all of that more out there.
Chicago.
Planet Kardashian.
Planet Kardashian. I had a little rant today about Kim Kardashian, but I think she has a new perfume, and we always have a Kardashian story on this shit. But I'm sorry, guys. Here's what happened. She posted her new perfume, which is the shape of her body.
Yeah.
But as a kid growing up, and I had older cousins, my cousin always had Jean Paul Gaultier perfume.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And I literally was on Twitter, and I don't usually write shit on Twitter, but I just want to write this bitch like, you are a biter. Like, you are, like, because it's the shape of her body. And then it was, Jean Paul Gaultier has both of those bottles was the shape of a man and the shape of a woman.
Yeah.
The bottles look, although they're texturally different, whatever, but she's like, look at my great new bottle. No, bitch, the shit's been done since 1983.
I definitely thought of the Jean Paul.
Right?
Yeah.
Because everyone had that, right?
Yeah,
like
every Dominican man had the cologne.
Exactly. So my cousin was the Dominican
Your
man.
cousin, your uncle, your daddy, everybody had that cologne.
Everyone. No one ever had the female version, but the female version was out.
No, they had female.
No, but the male version was always there, and that's the first thing that came to mind was just that
Because you know these
blue-ass bottle.
Dominican men be wearing mad cologne.
Wow.
Out that shower. Fresh.
Right at
fresh, clean.
So I had my own little rant. Anyways, thank you again, Jasmine, for joining us. If you guys have any messy stories, anything you'd like to share, email us at messymondayspod@gmail.com. Follow us on Instagram at Messy Mondays Podcast. Also on Twitter at Messy Mondays Podcast as well. And don't forget to follow me at Love Marley _, LUV Marley _, and don't forget to follow Show Me.
That's SHOMI_ENT, SHOMI_ENT.
Don't forget to subscribe and share.
Yes.
We look forward to you guys talking to you guys next week.
And have a great Monday and a great rest of your week. And now you have something to actually read on Sundays before you listen to Messy Mondays.
Yes, look at that.